in the 11 o'clock hour, about 11:30. And then Jonathan Thomas, we'll talk with him, CEO, president of American Century, coming up in the 12 o'clock hour as well. So also Trey Wingo is supposed to stop by. He's not playing, so we do think that he'll be able to stop by at noon today. That's already scheduled, so he's not playing today. That should be good to go. And then if people will indulge me, Sterling and Kyle. So I like talking to the actors that are out here as much as the athletes and other sort of celebrities. And so one of my favorite interviews we've done so far was Michael Pena, because I'm a huge fan of his. Well, one of my favorite TV shows ever is Veep. And if anybody knows Jonah in Veep, played by Tim Simons, you would know, the sort of comedic character actor that he is in the different things that he has done. And Netflix series Nobody Wants This is out and, very popular as well, and he's in that. And so if people will indulge me, okay, I've been doing so many interviews, Sterling, for everybody else. Everything I've done is for everybody else. It's for you. It's for the demanding from Kyle.
Your largesse
Kyle has been on my
no bounds, Jason. You are a generous
Kyle
man.
has been on my ass. The amount of notes that Kyle has sent me anytime he's found out we're going to interview somebody, it's outrageous. Absolutely. Now I know what Seren has to deal with.
He actually sent you a strongly worded letter. It wasn't even a text or an email. He sent you a letter to Tahoe. It was shocking, Pony Express style.
Sterling, but here's what pissed me off. He addressed it to whom it may concern. Not even to me. To whom it may concern. I have a name, okay? I have a name. It's not whom, nor is it concern. Understand? So this one, I'll be honest, I'm going to do the interview for myself. This one's for me. And anybody else that may be a fan of Tim Simons and in Veep and Nobody Wants This on Netflix. He is one of my favorite characters in any TV show is Jonah in Veep. And anybody that's seen that show knows exactly what I'm talking about. And so he's going to tee off in like an hour, and he said he was going to come over about locally here around 8:20, which is 10:20 Kansas City time. So in about 10 minutes. I have not seen him yet. He was there last night, and we had a blast hanging out with him for like 20, 25 minutes. It was great. Maybe one of the nicest dudes that we've talked to. And so if people will indulge me, hopefully you guys enjoy it too. If not, that's okay. This one's for me.
Oh, wait. Like I know that show. That Nobody Wants This. That's a great show. I know exactly who he is. Yeah. I'm so bad with actors. I'm like, I know that guy. Yeah. I'm so bad with names. No, I've not seen Veep. I've only seen I've heard glorious things. That actually probably needs to be on the list after Entourage.
It's one of my favorite TV shows ever. So, Kyle, have you seen Veep?
No, but I know it's got Julia
Louis-Dreyfus in there.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. I know it's got her in it.
And that was his big break. Yeah, that was his big break. It is brilliant. It is so good, and it's political satire. And I'm just excited to hear about it because that was his big break. Like I didn't know who he was before that, and now it's like he's one of the funniest people ever.
Nobody wants
he was
this
hilarious.
So
he was
good,
cracking
though.
us up last night.
Like that's a newer show, and a lot of newer shows. I'm like, okay, is it stale? Is it overdone? Have we seen this trope a time or two? I thought Nobody Wants This was incredible.
Really
my wife and I really, really enjoy that show.
Yeah. Season 2 comes out in October, I think, is when it drops for Nobody Wants This. And so we were talking to him about that last night. He was cracking us up, dude. Like, laugh out loud. He was freaking hilarious. And I'm like, dude, I got to get you on the show tomorrow. I don't care that it's not sports related. He's like, yeah, I don't really pay attention to sports, to be honest with you. Like, I don't care.
Act it.
We've done sports all week.
You're an actor. Act like you know sports.
We've done sports all week. He did say, I don't really pay attention as much anymore because of work and stuff, and I'm just not into it as much. He goes, but he's from New England, and he's a huge Patriots fan. So we'll just make fun of the new dynasty in town. That's what we'll have fun with probably. We'll see. But that's where people will probably have to indulge me is coming up in about 5 to 10 minutes or so. We will talk with The Miz. Looking forward to that later on this hour. And then we'll get into plenty of sports stuff. I do want to say this, though, as a sportsy thing and an entertainment thing. So yesterday, Sterling, I don't know if you saw the picture of Travis Kelce in his very svelte golf shirt that he was wearing in his garage beer meet and greet that he was doing with Jason. So there was hardly anybody out here on the driving range that you're familiar with, and Chad is like, "Hey, the Kelceys just showed up," and this was like 3 o'clock local time here, so 5 o'clock back in Kansas City, and so he's walking out. It's Bethany and I are standing there, and he recognizes Bethany because she covers the Chiefs, and so he's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And she's like, "Any chance we can get you for like 5 minutes?" He goes, "Man, I got to do this garage beer thing, and then I got to warm up and everything, and we'll see after that." And he did this garage beer thing, and I tweeted it out. I tweeted out a picture of Travis, and with the picture, in the conversation he was having with this guy that, oddly enough, the guy lives in Lexington. He won a contest online with Garage Beer for a free trip to Tahoe and a meet and greet with the Kelce brothers. So that's what this guy got, by just signing up online with Garage Beer. So he's doing the meet and greet, and Kelce's like, "Man, I haven't had many of these." Because I've been on. He said, "I've been on the coastline. I've been running up and down the coastline, getting ready for the season," is what he said. And I'm telling you, if you haven't seen the picture, he looks like it. And I just point of clarification on this. Just want to make sure that this is clear, because I tweeted out the picture, and then I tweeted out a picture of Kelce last year, and there were people certainly that looked at it, saw the difference, and were like, "Wow, look how great a shape he's in," which is certainly the point. There were also people that were, "He was fine last year. Why are you making fun of his body and all this stuff? And you're we should be body positive and fat shaming and all of this stuff."
Travis Kelce,
yeah.
Jason.
Yeah. So here's what I want to point out, and a point of clarification here. At no point last year, when I was taking video and pictures of Travis Kelce, did I look at Travis Kelce and say, "That guy's out of shape, he's going to be screwed this year, and the Chiefs are not going to be able to three-peat because he's only going to have like 900 yards receiving. Being the total focal point of the offense, he's only going to have 900 yards receiving." Now, we have talked about this year, that he this past year, that he looked a step slow. Here's the point of clarification. Travis Kelce himself said that he needed to get back in shape. Travis Kelce himself said, "I'm going to do what I can to, the remotivation, do everything I can to get into the best shape." Travis Kelce himself said he felt like he wasn't in the best shape last year. I didn't notice anything. He looked like a tight end. He looked like an NFL player that was in his 30s last year. Guys have guts. Offensive linemen have guts. He's not expected to be. If Xavier Worthy was walking around with a gut, that might be a little bit different, okay? But Travis Kelce is not a guy that's relied on his speed and breakaway as a 34, 35-year-old. He ain't 26 and 27 anymore. So, point of clarification, he pointed out himself that I need to get into better shape. And those two pictures connected are Travis Kelce saying, "I need to get into better shape," and this is what it looks like when he does. Okay? At no point has Patrick Mahomes said I was out of shape last year or I'm out of shape right now. Okay? Let me just to separate the two. Patrick Mahomes has not said, "Well, you know what, I was out of shape last year and I couldn't get the Super Bowl. I just didn't have it, and I felt slow and I'm out of shape now." That's what Patrick Mahomes has looked like while he's won 2 rings and gone to 3 Super Bowls. So it would be different if Travis Kelce wasn't talking about himself specifically pointing out, "I was out of shape last year." Just want to clarify that, okay? Because that was not a, "Look how fat Travis Kelce is." Because, by the way, about 98% of the people living would love to look like Travis Kelce. So just want to point that out.
I would love to. That means I could dunk a basketball. So that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. So I do think there's a, to me, quite major difference in what Travis Kelce said and what he felt like the weight he should be playing at versus Patrick Mahomes, who's playing at a weight that he feels like he should be playing at. And especially when you have Bobby Stroop talking about that. And especially when I see a six-pack in Patrick Mahomes' stomach. Okay? There's a little bit of a difference there. I would love to have a six-pack through my stomach. All right? I mean, I've got one, but you know what I mean?
Well, I had a six-pack, Jason, but I drank it. I will also point out, I do think that what Travis did and has said has been very important because You're right. He has been the one talking about this. He has brought this up multiple times on multiple occasions, and he's made it an emphasis in what he's trying to do. And he wasn't just saying words. This is proof that he has done it. This should be almost terrifying for the rest of the NFL, saying, okay, this is a motivated Travis Kelce who knew what he had to do. He might go back to being the best tight end in football this upcoming season in his age, 35 year. I think this is outstanding news if you are a Chiefs fan of a guy who, again, he gets it, he did it, he is all the way in. When you said coastline, though, is it like, Table Rock Lake? Which coastline is he going? Weatherby Lake? Which coast line of these Midwest lakes is he running around?
No, I think he's out on the East Coast. He's like in Florida. He's been training and doing stuff in Florida, I believe. I think I saw something along the way, like a couple months ago. There was something like that, but I could be wrong on that. But it made sense when he said that because I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. There was something where it was like he was, in a area that was had a water-based area.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. All right, so wanted to get that out of the way because there was no fat shaming while the tweets were coming in yesterday about. I did love a couple of them that were like, well, you know what this guy doesn't understand is there's a sports element to this whole thing. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I should figure that out. My bad. I'll do a little more studying on.
Jason Anderson doesn't know ball.
Well, that's not any great revelation, you know what I mean? But I do know Tim Simons. And, again, this is the indulge me part of the show. Okay, so we're going to take a time out. We're hanging out here at Lake Tahoe, and everybody's getting ready to start their rounds. It's staggered throughout the day and the afternoon, which is cool because those shotgun starts sometimes make it difficult to get people on, but this being staggered throughout the rest of the afternoon is really cool. So we'll take a time out. We'll come back and talk with Tim Simons. And then we are expected to be joined by The Miz, and we'll talk with Matt Derrick, Cliff Illig, and we'll see who else stops by along the way. More Zone coming up next.
elasticity, but once it settles, like, it's in there for life. So thank you guys for your good work.
And the thing is, with the World Cup coming next year, we want to make sure that all of the asphalt and concrete is ready to go to host the World.
That's my number one, like, the thing that keeps me up at night, honestly, is that the asphalt and concrete is not going to be ready for the World Cup next year. That's what keeps me up at night. I have 2 kids. They're doing fine.
Yeah.
Or honestly, they may not be because I'm worried about the concrete, and I keep trying to tell them that they're not. And they're like, Dad, no, I'm not doing as well in school. Can I get a tutor? And I'm like, don't talk to me right now. I've got to figure this out.
Visiting with Tim Simons.
I feel like 300 to 1 is sort of about where I should be.
Is that what it is?
I feel like that's about
okay.
Right.
No, but you know what? I think you're like the 2-to-1 favorite to be the funniest guy on the course. I don't know.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. That's something I'm actually good at.
Yes, 100%. How did you get started in, was it stand-up? Was it comedy? Was it acting? Because you're also in Nobody Wants This. It's out on Netflix that my wife and I have been watching, so enjoy that one. But, again, Veep, one of my favorort shows of all time. How do you get started in that?
I actually started in college, and sort of long story short, I had like a rough transition into college. I wasn't enjoying it. I wasn't meeting a lot of people, and I ended up just auditioning for like 10-minute plays in my first semester of college, and I just got the bug like everybody gets. I think everybody gets the bug a lot earlier in their lives than I did. I just kind of caught it during college, and by the end of that year, I was like, I'm switching my major, and kind of just dedicated myself to it after that. I came up in indie theater. I kind of initially imagined that I would like travel around working at like Shakespeare companies all around the country and doing that kind of thing. And then kind of always found myself being cast as the funniest person in the darkest play. That was sort of where I lived, and so I moved to Chicago.
Already typecast
early. I moved to Chicago. Chicago has like an incredible independent and small theater scene, and I really liked the idea of like being a part of new plays, being a part of new stuff. So I never did improvisation in Chicago. I never did stand-up. I love stand-up, but I would be terrible at it. So I never did that. I've always just done, always just kind of came up through theater, moved out to LA in the hopes of working in film and TV, and in some weird way it actually happened.
It's interesting because it seems like a lot of paths for comedians and those who play funny characters in movies and TV came up through the comedy realm, and then they got into the acting part of it. You came up through the acting part of it, and was it just the natural comedic timing that you had with being a part of it? Was it something you developed over time?
I think I grew up a comedy nerd, so okay. I grew up watching stand-up and watching Saturday Night Live, and was always like a little bit of like a benign troublemaker in school. Like I was always trying to be the funniest person in class. Like that was sort of what I was into. So I think by the time I was acting, I had developed a pretty good sense of timing and comedy, but was really attracted to the character parts of theater, and that's sort of what I had to learn, and that's what I had to get better at. So yeah, I don't know. I always found I think I ended up in that way, like being the funniest person in the darkest shows. Like that was like a spot that spoke to me. It was like that's where you belong, and I think that really helped when we got to Veep, because weirdly, it is a very dark show that ends up being incredibly funny. Like
it's one of the funniest shows I think that has ever been created.
And if you look at the stuff that they're talking about on paper, none of it should be funny, but somehow they found a way to make people laugh. And so I think that's why that was my first big job, and I think that's why I enjoyed being a part of it so much, is because it felt like a home for me. The process of it, we had this insane rehearsal process. It was like script workshopping in theater, and so it felt, even though I didn't have a lot of experience in film and television, it felt like a place that I could succeed. And we had an incredible ensemble that was immensely supportive, and so I just kind of was able to hit the ground running with those guys.
Yeah, it's so interesting when you talk about that it's just like what was on paper technically wouldn't be funny, but that's your guys' job, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that speaks to the talent and the cast of and the casting of those characters, because when it's presented, I mean, it's laugh out loud. It's I don't laugh too often out loud. Okay?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. You know, and probably a comic's favorite thing is for somebody to say, oh, that's funny. Yeah. Oh, really? Was it? Why didn't you laugh?
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Was that funny? But Veep, some shows will like legitimately make me laugh out loud because of the writing and how it's delivered.
Yeah.
And I think that's the special part of what maybe creates the great shows. The writing is there and the delivery from the cast.
And I remember Dave Mandel, who was our showrunner for seasons 5, 6, and 7, he would always say this because people would come up to him and say, I want Selena Meyer to be our president. And he would say, no, you don't. What you want is for Julia Louis-Dreyfus to be your president. Because she was like Selena is one of the most vain and narcissistic and self-centered, awful people that exist. But Julia is so charismatic and so... she's so charismatic and she's such a wonderful presence on screen that because of that, that's why you end up liking her, because she as a performer is so charismatic, even when as a character she's doing awful things.
Was it intimidating ever to be on the set with some of the people? And maybe Julia Louis, I knew you grew up watching her and Seinfeld. And
it was intimidating going into the audition rooms, going into those things. But she is somebody who wants everybody else around her to succeed, and also is someone who is willing to give focus to other people in a cast because she is so talented. She knows she's going to be able to get focus back. And that is, I think, a rare trait in performers, especially somebody at the lead of a show. Sometimes people are unwilling to give spotlight because they internally worry they're never going to get it back. She was incredibly welcoming, and so all of that feeling of being nervous and feeling like you were out of your depth, she really created a great atmosphere to get over that.
And I was going to, we're visiting with Tim Simons, and one of the things I've always wondered about comedic ensembles is sometimes there are personalities and actors that will just take over the scene, which can maybe be intimidating for somebody else that sort of like shrinks away from like, well, I can't match that. Mm-hmm. You know, I can't do that. Was there ever anything like, with Veep when you've got Julia, and was there a tendency that anybody had to fight against of sort of like bowing down is not the right word, but sort of just deferring to her in the scene and sort of backing off and letting her do her thing?
There wasn't. It was, I think we all look to her because she has really good taste.
Yeah.
We would always really look to her to be like, hey, I had an idea. What do you think about this? And a lot of times she'd be like, try it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that there is, maybe the thing that you're speaking to is that sometimes in comedies people can try to like plow through a scene with jokes that don't really have anything to do with like the meat of the scene that's underneath it. And I feel like that's where you get into trouble. And I've just been really lucky that everybody in both in Veep and in Nobody Wants This knows what the meat of the scene is. And if they're going to try to jump in with a joke, they know that it relates to what's going on in that scene. And it's not just a feeling of, well, I've got to get in there with a joke to make sure nobody forgets about me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a very, but definitely there are times where even I see things and I'm like, oh, that person was just steamrolling everybody in that room that day. And that's just like, that's the worst feeling. But I've been very lucky in that I've never really had to deal with it.
How much of that show, you mentioned just going over the script and time and time again, but how much was it scripted and how much that made air was ad-libbed in those scenes?
It was, I would say, like, it was a very scripted show, but we had a rehearsal process that not a lot of shows do. That was like, we filmed our first 4 seasons in Baltimore, and we would go out like 3 weeks early, and we would essentially script workshop. We'd sit down, we'd do a table read, we'd go up, we'd put the scenes to the side, and Armando, who was our showrunner at the time, would say, I think what this scene needs is this element. And so then we would all jump in, and we would play reporters, we would play chiefs of staff, we would play, armed forces generals, and just the idea being like, we're just going to throw stuff out and see if it brings this extra element to the scene. So then the writers would go away with the stuff that we had all worked on that day and write a new script. And so then by the time you got to set, Armando described it as like a stew. You just put everything in, you boil it down. You put more stuff in, you boil it down. You put more stuff in, you boil it down. So by the time you're on set, you've kind of already improvised around the entire thing, and you have a set script that you're working on. But then also they would say, all right, on this one, do the entire scene top to bottom. Don't use the same words, but hit the same beats.
Interesting.
And that just led to like moments where stuff would come out of nowhere. Somebody has a good idea, you can throw a joke in. And then I also will say, once trust was established, a lot of us would ask for forgiveness rather than permission. In that way of like, you can go up and explain a joke at Video Village for 5 minutes, or you could just do it in the scene, and if they laugh, they might like it, and just be like, yeah, do it again. You know what I mean?
Okay.
They're like, yeah, that works.
How many seasons did it take to do that before it became beg for forgiveness, then ask for permission?
We had a really trusting ensemble, so we got there quickly.
Good.
We got there quickly, yeah.
Tim Simons is our guest, and Veep, and Nobody Wants This, and a number of other, voice acting roles as well. But looking back to Veep, because I want to, there's so many great things that came from that. How much of some of the things that took place that Julia Louis-Dreyfus, her character, and others around it, how much was taken from things that really happened?
A fair amount was taken from like sort of what would happen behind the scenes. Armando, we would go up to DC, and we would meet with staffers throughout the process, and we would try to get a sense of what their lives were and try to get jargon that we could throw in. I am going to swear on your broadcast, the term pencil that's used in the pilot was something we got a bunch of staffers drunk, and they started complaining because they worked in communications, and they were like, yeah, I wrote a speech today and my congressman completely pencil it. Like, it was a great speech and now it's garbage.
Yes.
Yeah. And so now it's unusable, and so we went to set the next day and we were able to put that in.
Oh, amazing.
But then what invariably would happen every season is that we would the writers would sit around and be like, what's the dumbest thing a politician that could do? And then in between the time we had shot it and it came out, a politician in real life did that dumb thing. So it looked like we were ripping it off, but when we did it, we were like, nobody's going to be this dumb.
Yeah.
And then somebody was that dumb.
Yeah.
That was sort of how it worked out. Sometimes we were predictive, and sometimes we would take stuff from real life moments.
Because I was like wondering, like, was there like a presidential candidate that flew into the wrong city and got out to wave, and it was like, nope, you're in the wrong spot?
That was 100% based on a real, based on a real thing. I think it was the the first Obama campaign. I think they flew into the wrong airport, and I think we had pumped it up a little bit to be like, there was a whole crowd waiting, and like, the embarrassment of like all these people waiting in one city and they're in a different city. I think they had just gone to the wrong city, but there wasn't like a whole crowd waiting for them. So we pumped it up a little bit.
And then the other one that was great was stealing the speech, like stealing lines from a speech because you're up there before this person. So then it's like that they stole my line. That was my line.
Yeah. I can't think of a specific one, but I think that is rampant of just like, and I mean, honestly, like that's kind of a thing that happens in Hollywood too. I mean, they have that thing about like DC is Hollywood for ugly people. Like there's like that thing that people say that like, is that like you'll hear these nightmare stories about like being like a comedy table read, and one of the supporting characters get a big laugh on a line, and the lead of the show will be like, that's my line now.
Wow.
So like I feel like that happens in speeches where they're like, that's good, I'm taking it. Yeah. And so, and again, luckily I have never worked in a situation like that. But yeah, that I can't think of who that was, but that seems to be around a lot.
Why'd they stop the show? I mean, was it just the perfect time that if you just keep going, it's going to get dry or stale?
I think
leave people wanting more, because that was certainly me.
I think ultimately there were a number of factors at play. I think we would have done it forever. We loved it so much, but not all good things must come to an end, and like maybe leave a moment too soon rather than a moment too late. And there was that, but also by the time we were done, we were probably mid Trump's first term, and at that point politics is unsatirizable. It cannot be satirized, and a lot of our show was what goes on behind the scenes versus what what the candidate would say publicly and like the differences between those two things, and you're seeing the complete erasure of somebody who just goes out and says the bad thing and doesn't try to hide it. And so then it becomes a lot harder to satirize that.
Yeah.
And so we're just kind of living in a sort of upside down political world, and I think that also factored into it. It made our jobs really hard.
Yeah.
Because whatever thing you thought was going to be too much would immediately get blown out of the water and be like, all right, well, we have to start from zero.
Like, well, he's saying that, but that would have been behind the scenes said, and we could have had a satiric sort of scene around that, but that's been said. So that is interesting. Tim Simons is our guest.
Huge fan of concrete. Just want to say it again. Huge fan of the concrete. Still worried about it. Hope you guys can get it figured out.
I think we're on a path. We are on a path to get it done. Yeah, it's creating the path, and we're on that path of creating it to make sure that the world is ready to go here when the World Cup is in Kansas City. Feel free to come next summer to Kansas City for the World Cup. When we're hosting.
Didn't realize that you guys are going to have games there.
Yeah, yeah. We are a few months away from which countries will be announced that we'll be hosting. Which countries? I think we're going for Germany. December is when I think Germany's the big push, that they want Germany to be based in Kansas City.
Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah.
That'll be so fun.
Because every host site has like specific countries that will have their home base there.
Oh, okay.
And all their fans will go there to watch them train and practice. And so
that's really
fun. A few countries I think that Kansas City's trying to get to make their home base, because we're right in the middle. Easy access everywhere.
Kansas City, Kansas, or Kansas City, Missouri?
Well, both.
Okay.
Both, yeah. So,
what are you?
Well, I grew up in Missouri. I live in Kansas now, so I'm both. Just the Kansas City metropolitan area, all of it.
Okay.
Sporting plays in Kansas. Chiefs and Royals play in Missouri for now. We'll see where the Chiefs end up playing. That's also something going on. So all of that stuff. You excited about Mike Vrabel coming back, being the Patriots head coach?
I got to tell you, I wish I was more dialed in. I wish I was more dialed in. I was all in on cutting the sleeves off my hoodies and just speaking in a monotone. And I don't know. I have not followed as closely as I should.
I get it. That's fine. The Chiefs take over. The dynasty's over.
Yeah.
The new champions are in town. I understand that totally. It'll one day probably happen to the Chiefs too. That they'll have to step aside and somebody else will be the new dynasty.
Yeah. All these things ebb and flow.
Yeah.
Having a generational quarterback probably helps.
Yeah. It is interesting. Like, we're sitting here as fans of teams, and the dynamic and probably the argument 10 years from now will be your quarterback or my quarterback.
Yeah.
Who's the greatest of all time?
Yeah.
It seems like it's barreling towards just those two.
Oh, you think there's going to be a debate about that? Well, that's really fun.
Well,
how sweet.
Well, I was thinking this, Tim. Tim Simons, our guest. I was thinking this. The other day, I was sitting down. I'm like, what am I going to talk about today? And it popped into my head. I'm like, what about LeBron versus Jordan? Like, why have we not figured out who's the GOAT? LeBron versus Jordan. I think we should really go down that. Like, that needs to be traversed more. That is just uncharted territory right now. So I was thinking, it came up on my own. Like, LeBron versus Jordan, who's the GOAT? I think that should be talked about.
I think stats-wise, look, I'm not the most dialed-in sports guy. It's one of those things. Should I wait a second?
No, you're good.
That's okay.
No, keep going, yeah. You cursed earlier, so beeping in the background is not going to be a big deal.
You guys are probably really worried about the beeping.
Yeah.
Just use that beep to cover up what I said. There is that thing.
I get these GOAT conversations going. Come on.
If you look stats-wise, there kind of really isn't a comparison, except for like that thing of like the eye test. It seems to be like broken down between people that are like stats focused and then eye test focused, in that way that like people that enjoy, I guess, like, God bless Michael Jordan, the man is a psychopath. You know what I mean? And so if you like rooting for psychopaths and want them to be the best ever, then you're going to be pretty locked in.
Isn't that sort of like, it's interesting, because that seems to be some sort of a characteristic. Like, Jordan was a psychopath on the court. Brady seems to be a psychopath in terms of winning on the field. And Eric Bieniemy, Patrick Mahomes' offensive coordinator, said that Patrick Mahomes is a competitive prick.
Yeah,
is what he called him. Like, I guess that seems to be a trait that if you're going to be the GOAT, you got to be that. You want to destroy the other person.
Yeah, you kind of have to. I'm glad. I feel like I'm reasonably competitive, but I will never be the GOAT. I'm not that competitive.
I don't know.
I just feel like, I don't know, you got to go home and sleep at night sometimes. I always think about it like, what if you were 25% less the worst person that ever lived, and you only won 4 championships? You know what I mean? That'd be a trade-off I'd be willing to take.
I say the same thing about Brady. It's a good point. It's a great point. Tim Simons, Veep. Nobody wants this. Really enjoyed the conversation. Thank you so much. I'm a big fan. I love your work. And what's coming up next for you? What are you working on right now?
I'm coming up. Second season of Nobody Wants This comes out October 23rd. And I'm in a couple movies that will be coming out later on this year, one of which I don't think I can say, and then the other one I just don't know when it comes out.
So it's Top Gun, the next Top Gun.
Yeah, Top Gun.
Yeah, so Miles Teller, Tim Simons.
Yeah.
You're playing Maverick's long-lost brother, or it would be Rooster's long-lost brother.
Rooster's long-lost brother. I'm terrified of flying.
Yeah, and they got to get you up in that plane.
They keep being like, you have to go up, and
they
I
have
keep
both
saying,
been captured. You're the only one that can save them for some reason. For some reason, you're the only one
looking
that
around like I see 40 other pilots here.
It's got to be this guy. I'm not sure what is called. Walrus. Come on, Walrus. You're up. Yeah, asphalt, concrete. You're up. It's time
concrete
to go.
Would actually be a pretty dope call signal.
There you go. Tim Simons, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure, man. This is really fun.
Absolutely. We'll take a time out. We'll come back. More Zone next.
You're in the zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
like go doing these interviews. You just need to impress them. I go, don't you worry about that. Like I'm such a big fan of American Gladiator. I went to the live shows back in the 90s, right? Like, so I went to what was Gund Arena. It's Rocket Mortgage now, but I went to those shows. I saw them. My dad brought me to them. I still remember watching Atmosphere, thinking, my hamster is just gonna. I mean, that looking like guys look like hamsters, right?
Is this guy get past Nitro or not?
I go into this meeting, and I'm telling you, there's probably like 7 people in this meeting, and I'm just talking to them like, in my goal, I almost was talking to them like, how can we make this what it was back then for the kids nowadays? Like, how are you going to do that? I was asking them questions that I don't think other people were asking, because I was so passionate. I wanted this to succeed, whether I was hosting it or not, because I just loved American Gladiators, like WWE and American Gladiators. Like, those were my 2 things. And now I'm doing them.
Yeah.
Like, and so I got out of the meeting. My agent called me, goes, I don't know what you did, but that went really well. And I go, well, how do you know? He goes, they called me literally right after. And we're like, we got to take a couple more meetings, but man, that was good. And then I got the call saying I was going to be the host of American Gladiators. And I was like, okay. So talking to the showrunner, Daniel Kalin, who, let me tell you something, I've dealt with showrunners, and I've had many great showrunners. Daniel not only took the nostalgia of what we loved and knew as children, but he also, and not just him, honestly, it was MGM, it was Prime Video, and it was the entire team of writers and producers. They got the nostalgia right. They picked the Gladiators. The casting was so well done. Like, you look at our Gladiators, they hit. I mean, I just got done filming.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, we just filmed all the episodes.
You know when it starts?
I don't know. That's the one thing. Everyone's like, when's it start? I go, I don't know. But we filmed it, and it is special.
I can't wait.
I can't tell you how special it truly is. Like, I'm getting goosebumps just talking to you about it, because the way the Gladiators hit, they hit harder than any Gladiator I've ever seen. And I don't know if it's just because I was there up front and personal and got to see it live, but man, do they hit hard. And the contenders, the stories they have are unbelievable. Like, this is life-changing money for them. Like, it's when you say blood, sweat, and tears, that is what they are giving to try to win American Gladiators and be that American Gladiator champion. And so we have new games, but we also have the old games. And so, you know, we brought the old with the new, the nostalgia that you love, but also we upped the ante, right? We made it, like, this set is so gorgeous. And so, man, everything about it, I'm ecstatic for people to see it and watch it and love it. And I can't wait. And it's going to be on Amazon Prime Video, and I can't wait for people to see it.
I'm pumped about it. The Miz is our guest. Do you and John Cena actually get along out of the ring, or does this thing continue?
John's one of those people that taught me everything.
Yeah.
Taught me so much.
While the rivalry was going on?
While the rivalry was going on, he was unbelievable at teaching me how to become a main event superstar. Like, I was talking to you before about how when I was younger, you know, I was like, oh, like I knew everything. John taught me that I didn't know everything. That when I was in the ring, he knows exactly how to get an audience to do what he needs them to do. When do they need to do it? So he taught me how to be a conductor in the ring.
Wow.
And know what to do when something is happening. When the crowd is dead silent, what do? So now I know exactly what I need to do. I can feel an audience. He taught me how to feel an audience and hear an audience. And he'd always be like, do you hear him? And I go, yeah, man, I hear him. Like, I hear him. And he's like, you're not listening. You're not listening to the crowd. And I'm like, dude, I am listening. I hear them telling me I suck. I hear them chanting that. I get it. And he's like, you're just not listening. And then it took me a while, but then it started getting it. Him, Randy Orton, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, like they've all, like I've been so fortunate to learn from them. And now I hope to make our new generation learn, because they don't get to wrestle with them anymore. John, this is the last time we're going to see him in the ring. They don't get to learn from John Cena. So I have to teach everything that John Cena taught me, and Randy Orton's still here, but Triple H no longer, Shawn Michaels no longer, Undertaker no longer. Like, these are all guys that I've gotten to work with.
Wow.
I've had stories with. I've gotten to be inside a ring and have the knowledge that they have bestowed upon me, and now it's my gift or whatever, I guess my gift to give to the younger generation because they can't get in the ring. Shawn Michaels can talk to them.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between being in the ring with Shawn Michaels and getting talked to by Shawn Michaels.
Was there a moment where you were at the beginning, you're like, what am I doing? Oh my God,
I couldn't believe it.
I'm here in the ring. Was there an event, an opponent that was like, what am I?
Every time I step into a ring,
wow.
I have that. Even right now, every time I step into the ring, I get that moment. I don't care who I'm going up against. I cherish all of it.
Yeah.
All of it. You have to.
Yeah.
Not everyone gets to do what I get to do.
Yeah.
So if you're not loving what you're doing, get out, because someone else that loves it, that truly loves it, is going to do it.
The Miz, our guest. You're the man. I appreciate it. Love seeing you out here every year.
Thank you so much. And hey, how about American Century putting on a hell of a show?
Yeah.
I mean, this entire week is absolutely incredible between NBC Sports, American Century. Bravo.
Yeah.
Like, this is, if you're not here, like, watch it on TV, you're going to see how fun it truly is. And sometimes that's what I feel like is missing in golf. And that's why I have my YouTube channel, Ms. Golf.
Ms. Golf.
To bring some fun life into it.
It all comes full circle.
It all comes full circle.
The callback. That's great.
And Edgewood, what a golf course.
It's fantastic. An American Century, great Kansas City company.
Yes.
Fantastic stuff. Ms., you're awesome, man. I appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Good
appreciate
luck.
You. No need for luck when you're this good. Marty Fish, I'm coming after you.
There's the Miz here on Sports Radio 810. More Zone right after this.
You're in the zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Hey, Sorrent Petro here. Stop out or be listening when we broadcast the program this Friday from Cedar Crest Lodge in Pleasanton, Kansas. There you'll find a mix of nature and comfort, stunning views, a 27-acre lake, hiking, fishing, a heated pool, and on-site spa. Whether you're planning a romantic weekend or a mental health break, you'll find it 45 minutes south of Overland Park at Cedar Crest Lodge. I'll tell you all about it when we broadcast the program live from Cedar Crest Lodge. We'll be there Friday on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and we're for Home Sweet Home. We're for condos, tutors, single wides, and studios. We're for ranches, houseboats, 2 stories or 20. Red cedar, bluebirds, white squirrels, black walnuts, whatever's out your back door, we're for that. We're for watching the sun rise over the Mississippi and set over the Missouri. We're for kicking off your heels in a high-rise or hanging up your hat in the bootio. And if you have a home in Missouri, we have a policy for you.
I'm Steve Shedd, your Missouri Farm Bureau insurance agent. And if you're in Clay County, I've got you covered.
It's summer in Kansas City, and for most families, that means weeknights on the sports fields, kids' camps, pool days, and hustling back and forth with no time to prepare meals. Joe's KC Barbecue has you covered this summer with the Joe's To Go app. Dinner will be on the way without opening your door. All of your smoked favorites are just a few clicks away on the Joe's To Go app. Order for 1 or 100. Don't spend your summer in a drive-thru. Swing by Joe's for that traditional KC competition barbecue and tell them SSJ sent you.
The world is coming to Kansas City. Will your parking facility be ready? Gann Asphalt and Concrete is your winning team for all your parking lot needs. From faded lines and crumbling sidewalks to potholes that leave a lasting impression, Gann Asphalt and Concrete is your winning team for all things parking lot. They even have the expertise to prepare your property for what's next. Trusted, reliable, ready. Don't wait until it's too late. Let Gann Asphalt and Concrete help you pave the way forward. Visit GannAsphalt.com. Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot.
It's been over 2 years since Bobby Carpenter had regenerative treatments at QC Kinetics. He needed relief from knee pain, but he wanted to avoid surgery.
I thought I might have to have my knee scoped, had some injuries, some lingering pain from stuff that I had been dealing with from years of playing professional football, and things had kind of flared up again. I started talking to a friend of mine who's orthopedic, and he was like, well, try to avoid surgery if you can.
And you absolutely can avoid surgery. QC Kinetics provides patients with state-of-the-art regenerative treatments, orthobiologics from your own body that help heal and restore damaged aching joints. And we'll let Bobby tell you about that.
It was all of a sudden that one day, a couple months later, I was, let's go jog, let's try to see what I could do. And the more I did, I was pain-free with it, and it was actually a pretty remarkable process.
Before going under the knife, see if you're a candidate for non-surgical joint pain treatments at QC Kinetics. Call them today.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
Ready to reconnect with nature? The Mo Outdoors app from the Missouri Department of Conservation makes it easy. Find conservation areas, boat accesses, and nature centers near you. Plus, get maps, directions, and check area features right from your phone. Best part? It's free. So whether you're hiking, fishing, or exploring trails in Missouri, let Mo Outdoors be your guide. Download it today and discover nature your way. Sponsored by the Missouri Department of Conservation.
KCFX HD4 Harrisonville, K279PI Kansas City, 103.7 FM. Sports Radio 810 WHB, Kansas City.
Robert Brogdon's Olathe Buick GMC has been Kansas City's go-to dealership since 1995. They're proud to offer the area's biggest selection and best deals on new vehicles. Save up to $14,000 on new GMC Sierra or drive
Tahoe American Century Championship. Our coverage presented by Bobsite Auto Group, Zero Res, Window Nation, and GAN Asphalt and Concrete as our coverage here. We're going to talk with Cliff Illig here in about 5 minutes. So we're going to do like a quick little segment here and take a break, and then we'll talk with him about 11:25 or so. But thank you to The Miz. Thank you to Tim Simons. I said that you guys could indulge me with the Tim Simons one and The Miz as well. And certainly we'll get into a lot of sports stuff with Cliff Illig coming up. We'll talk with Trey Wingo. We'll talk with Jonathan Thomas. We're going to be joined by Jason Worth. We're going to be joined by gosh, who else are we talking to today?
Sterling Holmes.
Yes, we're going to talk with Sterling. George Kittle, is supposed to be on the schedule, so let's hope. He's here at the driving range, so planning on talking with him. And Rich Eisen was part of the celebrity karaoke last night, talked with him, and so he said he was going to make his way over today before he teed off in his round as well. But Sterling, you've been out here. You never know when guys, if they're able to make it over or not, so we will find out. But looking forward to those conversations here out in Lake Tahoe. So we'll see. How's everything going back in KC, brother?
Well, it was great until I asked the interns about Kirk Gibson and Willis Reed, and they looked at me dumbfounded. And the response.
What did you ask them about that for?
Well, the Petro situation with the injury that he's grinding through, that he's just an absolute trooper for. And so I told him, I go, this is your Willis Reed moment, Petro. I said that at the golf tournament yesterday morning. And so I was like, I wonder if these interns, if they know ball, if they even care about what came before them. And the answer is no. They don't care about history. They go, well, he was born in 1942. Why should I know that? It's history. It's history. 1970s NBA Finals. Willis Reed, severely torn muscle off his thigh, comes out and scores the first 4 points for the Knicks, 2 for 2. Come on. What are we doing here?
Did you explain Paul Pierce?
Well, he had
grinding
to go
through that.
They know Paul Pierce.
Well, do they know what happened to Paul Pierce? Do you know what happened and why he didn't get carried? Look up the stain.
No, I don't know why he got injured.
They got it.
Yeah.
He got Sterling. He was injured.
It was a Lamar Jackson situation.
Did
he was injured.
His
Okay.
pants? That's what they asked me.
Nope.
But Kirk Gibson, come on. Do you know who Vince Scully is? In the year that's been so improbable, the impossible has happened. Come on.
Jack knows.
By the way,
Kirk Gibson.
Well, yeah. By the way, Sterling, because Cliff is on site here, so I don't want to spend too much time and keep him waiting. But Chris Harrison is walking around here, formerly of the Bachelorette series, and his wife, Lauren, now Lauren Harrison, but was Lauren Zima. She worked at Entertainment Tonight. She went to Mizzou. And we are at the celebrity karaoke last night, and we are around Chris Harrison and his wife are like maybe 5 to 10 feet behind us, and we're just hanging out there. And Mike Vrabel, I think, does Mr. Brightside.
Nice.
And now again, she went to Mizzou. He did Mr. Brightside, and so it got to the I'm Mr. Brightside. And there were a few, maybe me indulging and having a little fun in the revelry, offered the colorful words that are inserted there at Mizzou games. And she immediately judged. She's like, whoa, wait a minute. And she came over, and she was talking about all of her best friends are from Kansas City. And I think she hung out with us the rest of the night. Like she was dancing with all of us the whole time, and her and Chris got up there and did a song. She came back down and was dancing. She was going crazy and the whole time. And like Chad and those guys, went to KU, and so she'd be taking a picture, and she's like, "Okay," she said the F word. They go rock chalk. She goes, "No, bleep chalk." That's what we say, right? Not cheese. Bleep chalk on 3. It was pretty funny last night. So there was, even here in Lake Tahoe with some celebrities, there was the KU-MU sort of friendly jabbing and ribbing going on back and forth.
It's always very friendly. Always very friendly.
You'd enjoy that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kyle loves it too.
Yeah, well, he should. It was fun, And Chris Harrison was just like, "I don't know what's going on here. I have no idea what you guys are talking about or doing. I don't know." Whatever. And then Joe Buck got up there last night, and he said, "Are there any Royals and Chiefs fans in here?" Yeah. He goes, "Yeah. I just want you to know that I definitely hate your teams. Okay, that's what I think about all the time. He's like, "No, I'm obviously kidding. I don't hate the Royals. I don't hate the Chiefs. I don't hate the Dodgers. I don't hate the Yankees. I don't hate the Cardinals. I don't hate the Cowboys. I don't hate the I don't." And he's just started naming off all these teams. Like, I don't hate your team. Okay, I know that you all think I do, but as we get the song started, I just wanted to dedicate this to Madison Bumgarner."
That's great.
And I said, "Shut up." I said, "You shut up, Joe." And he looked out and smiled, and the people, because we had him on the other day, and so we joked about that. And so we were near the front, and sort of he smiled, and I smiled back. And the people around us looked at me like, "You are a bleeping AH." And I was like, "No, it's a friendly, joking thing. Like, no, I swear." And Bethany was like, "They think that you're like the worst person here because you just yelled and told Joe Buck to shut up when he dedicated it to Madison Bumgarner." And then at the end, he gets done with the song, and he's like, "I love you, Royals. I love you, Chiefs. I love you, Royals. I love you guys. I promise. I swear. I love you."
But I do hate the Cowboys. I do hate them.
And then he came down, and I'm like, "That was all fun and good, right?" He's like, "Oh man, that was great," And I'm like, "Thank you." I was like, "Say it louder for the people around us, please, Joe. That'd be great." All right, so let's take a time out. We'll come back. We'll talk with Cliff Illig. We'll get into some real stuff. All right, World Cup coming to town. The latest was Sporting KC, the stadium stuff going on with the Chiefs and the Royals, Star Bonds, how it worked for Sporting, and how that would work for the Royals or the Chiefs. Kerry Zavagnin, what's going on with Sporting and his job so far. So a lot of actual sports and a discussion to get into with Cliff Illig. We'll take a time out. We'll come back. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 at WHB. Jason Anderson with you, hanging out here in Lake Tahoe, American Century Championships, and our coverage. It's presented by the Bobside Auto Group, Zero Res Window Nation, and GAN Asphalt and Concrete. As we continue rolling on this Friday, very pleased to be joined by Cliff Illig, joining us here in the zone on this Friday. Cliff, how are you, sir?
I am doing great. It's Tahoe.
Yeah,
it's July.
It's beautiful. I believe it is a balmy 66 degrees right now,
and
although the sun is pretty hot right now.
The golf guys are getting ready and looking forward to a really good day.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you get out much? Try to get out much and play?
Not anymore. I had a little back issue, and
okay.
so I used to come out here. We've been coming out since I think 2008. Wow. So
that's crazy. Yeah, always on the calendar, right?
Yeah, I'm on the board of the Stars Institute.
Yeah.
So I've been involved really since early on.
Yeah.
And it's a fantastic event. The guys are great. Mm-hmm. You listen to them talk about the event on their calendars, and it's the one thing they build their years around. And American Century does a great job. The team that for American Century that produces all of this is just really, really sharp.
Yeah.
And so it's just a well-done deal.
Yeah. Cliff Illig is our guest. And, a year from now we'll be enjoying World Cup matches across the country and North America, and certainly right here in our backyard in Kansas City. What's the latest with that and where we're at and on track to being ready to go there?
Let's see. Today's what, the 11th?
11th, yeah.
Okay, so it's a year from today that we will host the quarterfinal match.
Wow.
In Kansas City. So our year has really gotten kicked off, and we've spent a lot of time. This has been going on for the last 10 years, our preparation for all this with the bid and everything else. I think we have consistently kind of punched above our weight class on up against the other cities. There's 16 cities total, 11 here in the U.S. That will end up hosting FIFA's World Cup matches, and I think all of them but us are top 13 or 14 MSA's size of the cities.
Yeah.
We're 31st or something. So, and I think we've surprised a lot of people in soccer, in media with what we've been able to put together. And as we roll through this, Pam Kramer, who runs our World Cup effort here in town, has put together a great team. That team seems to be ahead of actually most of the other cities in terms of some of the things we're getting done. I think partly that's because we're just being smaller. It's a little easier to brute force it, but she's got probably close to 800, 1,000 people involved in one form or another. Got a great full-time staff. Got a great board, great executive committee. It's just a kind of an all hands on deck thing, and I think everybody is put their shoulder to it. I think everybody is a little overwhelmed with just the size of it.
Yes,
how big the World Cup effort is, and what it's going to take to be really good at it. But I'm very optimistic that we'll be ready, and it'll be safe, it'll be secure, and I think we'll put on a great show for Kansas City around the world.
I was very confident when the bids were coming in to host the World Cup and be a host city because of what I know and about Kansas City and think about Kansas City and what it can offer. Maybe it was viewed as foolish across the country that Kansas City would get to host these World Cup games. But one thing that I think has been a theme at least the last 20, 25 years, I found out. John Sherman talked about it when he took over the Royals and said, people can view Kansas City however they want, but we punch above our weight. And Brett Yormark, the Big 12 commissioner, when he took over coming to Kansas City for the Big 12 tournament, was like, yeah, it's fine here, but we're going to take it somewhere else. And then he gets here, and it's Big 12 tournament's here for a while because he sees what's going on in Kansas City and the World Cup. Do you find it in your experience that the way we're viewed outside versus when people actually come here and see it firsthand and the respect and what their reactions are to how serious of a city we are and then getting the World Cup bid?
Well, you say it well, too, because it's not just about sports. I think Kansas City in almost every dimension surprises people when they get